I will serve as the club's grammarian. And with that responsibility, my first one is to introduce a new word to our members. Today, I have selected the word celerity. This comes from the Latin word celere, which means swift. Celerity is a noun meaning swiftness or speed. An example of this would be the celerity and skill in which Cranmer did the work assigned to him must have satisfied his master, is the word, so celerity. Also during the meeting today, I will be looking for providing comments on the use of the English language, looking for awkward uses or misuses of the language. I will be looking for creative or colorful language, and also counting ahs and ums. Thank you.
Celerity, that's a good word. And now, calling on timer, Brian. What should our speakers do about celerity? Celerity.
They should. I'm going to go through this with great celerity. So my role is to keep track of the time and the speaker's time. And I will hold up the green card when there's 2 minutes left to the end of the speech, the yellow card when there's 1 minute left, and then the red card when time expires. For the table topic speakers, green will be 1 minute, yellow is 1 minute and 30 seconds, and red is 2 minutes and over. For the evaluators, green is 2 minutes, yellow is 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and then red is 3 minutes. And if you go over that time, I will buzz. I'm supposed to push the buzzer. Probably won't do it, so don't worry about that.
It's always a pleasure to come back to High Nooners, because usually this is a club which knows what's doing, and it's really, really great to see members coming here year after year doing great. Andrew is our humor inspirational master. Andrew, will you please come over here and either make us laugh or inspire us to do something greater.
Well, with Sunday being Valentine's Day, I figured I'd give a humorous short story of one of my first dates dating my wife. About a few months into dating, both of us just recently bought kayaks and figured it would be fun to go out to Chester Woods County Park and go kayaking. Well, we bought them on a Saturday, and Sunday morning we went out. A few minutes into the kayaking trip, I noticed somebody in canoe looking at us with binoculars. It's kind of creepy. So, Jenny, let's go in the other direction, away from this guy. Well, I was amazed by the celerity of this canoe. Within 5 minutes, the canoe pulled up to us, and it was a game warden asking us to pull over to the shore. He got out, he had waders about this high, so he got out of his canoe, walked up to us and said, "License and registration." What are you talking about? Well, apparently in the state of Minnesota, at this time, if your canoe was 10 feet or more, it needed to be registered similar to a boat. Well, neither of us were registered. My wife's kayak was 9 feet, mine was 10 feet. He double-checked because he got out the tape measure. My wife was not happy. We were lucky enough to get away with 1 ticket, which equated to $80 in court fees and $20 in a DNR fine. Now, since the years have changed and we actually registered our kayaks, we went to register it this past year. Soon to find out that while registering that they changed the law, and under 12 feet do not need to be registered. So we no longer need to register our kayaks, and the big year on our kayak now says 2014 instead of 2017. So hopefully you find this a little humorous and just brighten up our day.
Stick with the rules, stick with the rules.
Gotta know the rules.
One thing they told me about when I was coming to America, they said, remember one thing, do not mess around with the rules. You can eat sloppy Joe, you can eat spaghetti in the morning, night, you can eat meatballs for breakfast, that's fine, what you do in your home. But do not break the rules. I always keep that in mind. So with that, we'll have our club president, Chris Nibbe. He's going over this program which is called Moments of Truth. He's asked for 10 to 12 minutes. He's going to talk about program planning and meeting. Chris Nibbe.
It's gonna be a dangerous place to have this mouse. I might be tempted to snack during my speech. Welcome, everyone, to High Nooners, and we are in the middle of a self-evaluation of our entire club. Greetings, welcome guests. If you aren't a guest, I apologize. It has been a couple weeks. I may or may not know if you have joined. Old visitors are now serious contenders, so welcome one and all. First off, how did everyone like the digital survey format? Everybody got a chance to... All right, I've seen lots of nods. I did not have anybody ask me for a paper or a PDF, so 2 more surveys will be finding your way. This one, number 4, the moment of truth for program planning and meeting organization. Just for clarity here and recall, this is what you have been used to. And these are the results. Out of 23 plus members, I had 16 respondents. That is amazing. So thank you very much for replying to my pestering. Looks pretty good on this one. We had a lot, pretty high marks for all of the program and agenda publicized. However, we had one rarely meets for the program and agenda. Just, oh, thank you very much. I can also see that here. Is it the AV or low? All right. No, thank you very much. I apologize. It's been a while since I've done a PowerPoint. Can everybody see this okay? These are the actual results, and much, much easier to share rather than have me to summarize, and because we love full disclosure, we want full involvement. This isn't just the Speakers Club, this is your club. And to know what our fellow members are thinking is probably the best way to address these. The numbers, I will share these if desirable, and here are some of the answers. So a lot of good marks. People think that we have a fairly strong mentorship relationship. One of the things that I think has been fairly new this year, Amy, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you've been here, have we ever had such an influx of new members like we have this year in a long time? It's been a wonderful problem to have, matching up mentors to new members. So that was one nice surprise to see in this program planning. However, I wasn't sure how it related to program and planning, but that was a nice little surprise. this one was kind of tough. This is a club that meets during the day. It is a club that meets and is attended by people with many full-time jobs. And I think our biggest struggle is letting people know what's going on. And having, the Toastmasters are very busy, and having them convey what their meeting is going to be about. That is what I gathered from this survey is we do need to have a stronger response to let people know what's going on at each meeting. I think that would also help people that don't have a role to pique their interest, to let people know what's going on. Another benefit of that would be filling out the competent leadership manuals. It has been a while since we've had some very strong advocates for the competent leadership manual, but the more members we have here, outside of role holders, we can more quickly fill out our competent leadership manuals. So there's this circle of the meeting life that I'm seeing a gaping hole with, is there's a cycle that's being missed out here. Because the competent leadership manual, if everybody flips to their back page, how many of you have been filling out the must complete one of X and 3 others on the back of their competent leadership manuals? All right, 1, 2. For those that haven't completed their leadership manual. So if you have not seen that, that is another benefit of showing up and helping our fellow members, even if you do not have a role. We're not even going to go on table topics, because that's another issue there. And is there any questions about the programming that I have not covered that has not been already addressed on this? Any other questions or concerns? Right now, I have time for a couple questions before I go to, okay, Courtney?
I think it would be helpful if we had a more consistent way to notify people when a role has been filled. So if there's a volunteer and somebody volunteers for it, there's been a lot of times where I volunteered, I don't know how long it's been between the notice went out that we need one and when it was filled. It would be nice to know, such and such, this has been filled already, thank you, because a lot of times I get responses saying already has been, so I don't wanna keep, email spamming people unnecessarily.
Right. That is a good point. Has anybody had a problem with too many emails or have been disturbed with when we use the members 4677 blanket email? Anybody else, anybody have a problem with that? If not, I then highly recommend that whenever there is an answer or a response, instead of just replying back to the person, to use that blanket email in order to keep the club fully informed. Does anybody else have a problem with that? No? Okay, then I think that maybe that is what we should do, is include that email with everybody. So I think there will be an email following this with recommendations. Any other concerns? Okay, Jenny?
I see a comment up there that says there are a lot of people who are new, who are not schooled in what to expect for each role.
Yes.
This may be a communication, but I think it's something perhaps the Toastmaster could include in the weekly emails. There is a link on our website. You don't even have to log in to access it. It's on the left-hand side, the upper left of the website, that says, sorry, I just looked it up so I would remember, roles of a Toastmaster meeting. And it lists all of them with a link to a PDF which describes that role, how you should introduce yourself, and so on. So we actually do have that out there. I think that's just a piece of education that we need to provide, especially to newer members, that that's available. And so perhaps the Toastmaster of the next week's meeting could include, as a reminder, there are descriptions of each role of the Toastmaster meeting on our website. And again, you don't need to log in to access that, so anyone can view that.
Absolutely. As well, to add to that, with all of our new members, it should also be expected of the mentor to go
Right.
through the manual and be the mentor to the new person and help everyone to understand when you have to do this is what's expected. Yes, High Nooners has its own flavor, but this is why we do it, and here's what you typically would do. So, just try and follow the book. It's always, even with cooking, if you're gonna do something new, follow the recipe exactly. Once you get comfortable with a role, start doing your own thing. Make it your own role. That, I think, is what makes Toastmasters so good. They have a program for a base, and then you can start elaborating to make it your own, because that's where the growth happens. So we may or may not be failing our new members by not having the mentors review those basic roles as well. But yes, thank you, Jenny. That is also a very good point. Another item that we have been talking about in our executive meetings has been the agenda. I'm going to share something Amit saved here. This is from late last year with, I think I cut off the header, but one of Amit's other clubs that he's a member of, they published this ahead of time. Am I not mistaken if I remember correctly? So everybody can see on the left, this is the year's, this is who's in charge of the club at the time, as well as everybody involved and what is to be expected in their meeting. And as it happens, he forwarded on a Moments of Truth agenda for their meeting, which is, I really found it entertaining. This would then also serve as a record of meeting. This document could also double as our timers report. This is what we use now. Is a matter of delegation and involvement. If anybody here is a PDF master, we would love to talk to you, because these are Word documents. If we could create something that could be included and forwarded to all the Toastmasters that they could fill out for each meeting, print and make 2 copies so they have one to follow along when they are the leader, and then the Toastmaster could hand one to the timer, that would also be a record of the meeting. You wouldn't have to do anything other than fill in the timer. So if we have any there, we would love your assistance. But those are our answers to the agenda item. We have heard that in the past. Are there any other questions at this moment regarding ideas or volunteerism?
In my Microsoft Word, you have an option as save as PDF.
Right?
So you can fill in and save as PDF and make print out. I think we all can do that.
Okay. One of the things I was thinking of was a field for, the title of the speech and how many minutes. But we can also, because sometimes people aren't familiar with using a text box, trying to make it as user-friendly as possible. Yeah, I am familiar with creating a document.
So a fillable PDF.
A fillable PDF form. Any other questions? That was good. We are looking for input. This was wonderful. I really enjoyed getting as many responses as I did. I think that shows that we do care. It tells me that we are meeting many of your needs. But it also shows that we have some room to grow. And with that, we'll just grow as we need to and as fast as we can. Till then, we're still going to need your help.
Thank you, Mr. President. With this, Mr. Timer, can you give us 1 minute for evaluation? And as I promised to Amy, there are candy there, chocolate there.
I saw that on the way in.
Was that the box here, Amy?
Oh, no, thank you. You did bring the candy, that's right, you said you were gonna bring candy.
I did. Mr. Timer. The next speaker is known not only in this room, but is known all over Rochester, and is known in TEDx Rochester, and is known in St. Paul. In fact, I have all his fans waiting for him in Saturday Morning Live. You should see the ovation he gets when he goes, Joe, you're here! But for now, Joe is here. And Joe is going to talk about something. Everything changed. Everything changed. Joe Sharp. He's going to take 5 to 8 minutes.
Dr. Ketanethy is a 36-year-old neurosurgeon who was just finishing his 6 years as a resident at Stanford University Hospital. He had planned to write a book to become a professor at Stanford, and he was very highly regarded for his skill as a surgeon and also as a writer. He was examining one of the many hundred CT scans that he routinely looked at. This one had extensive lung cancer, stage 4. No surgery possible. Serious case. Why was he examining this CT scan? Because it was his own scan. He had now to face the possibility that all of his changes, life plans had changed immediately. His relationship with everyone, his wife, his colleagues, were all now different. So what happened? He no longer could be treated as a colleague in which you discuss long-term statistics of a case. You never discuss the statistics with a patient because you can't do a good job of it. His wife and he hesitated to tell his wife, who was also a physician, about the case. And when she discovered about it, she was very hurt. So hurt that she said she would have to consider the future of their relationship together. So what is he going to do now? How is he going to change his life? Well, the most important question that he's now no longer the object, the agent who produces change. He was the object who received the change, who was more or less at the mercy of his condition and his physician. So how does he plan his life? He told one person, my lifetime could be 3 months, in which case I'll spend time with my wife. My lifetime could be a year, in which case I'll write the book I was planning to write. My lifetime could be 10 years, in which case I'll go back to practicing therapy. But how can I decide that? What he's really helping tell us to see is what it's like to die. What it's like to be a patient, knowing that you have a fatal illness, knowing intelligent things about yourself that most patients don't know, but at the same time, having all of the uncertainty and all the mystery of being a patient. Because he was such an articulate person, he changed from being a scientist to a humanist. And he started to philosophize about what the role of a physician was. Clearly, a physician in this case was no longer trying to defeat death. The physician was trying to help the patient understand their condition and to face it and to deal with it. Luckily, at Stanford, he had a phenomenal physician to take care And so, naturally, he kept asking questions about the condition, which she wasn't able to answer, because you don't tell patients things like that. He was no longer a colleague, he was a patient. Well, the most difficult problem had to do with his wife, who frankly was very hurt by the fact that he didn't share all of these things with her. And so, eventually, when they did work that out, they came to an important decision. He was going to have to go through chemotherapy, which might affect his genetic behavior. So just as a precaution, he saved his genome, his semen in a bank, in case they decided to have a child. Have a child in a condition like this? What is going on? Wouldn't that make dying even harder? So you would be able to share the life with your child. But he came to the conclusion that a painful death was often desirable. The fact that it was so painful was part of what made it valuable. In fact, he began to see that what made life important in every phase of his life was its temporariness. Knowing that it wasn't going to last, you had to learn to enjoy it at the moment. This was an interesting insight. Well, they did actually have a child, and he was there during the birth. He tried to console his wife during the cesarean and constantly be a supporter to her. And of course, well, I have to show you a picture. I hope you can see the pleasure that he showed. This was a very wonderful thing to happen as he was dying. As a matter of fact, he wondered how in the world he was going to deal with this young girl. Was she even going to remember who he was? Was he going to have any impact on her life at all? And so he wrote her a note, which I'm going to read. When you come to one of the many moments in life where you must give an account of yourself, provide a ledger of what you have been and link to the world. Do not, I pray, discount that you fill a dying man's days with a sense of joy, a joy unknown to me in all my prior years, a joy that does not hunger for more and more, but rests satisfied in this time, right now. That is an enormous thing. Would anyone like to ask a question or make a comment?
Out of time, Joe. We are out of time. We can continue this conversation. I think it's very vital.
Thank you.
I think we will. Thank you very much. 1 minute, Mr. Timer. the club competition is coming, I thought we should have Amy Roberts come here for at least doing a couple of topics. As you know, this year we're going to have international speech and table topics, so this is good practice for you, all of us who are trying to compete. So Amy, please come.
This last Sunday morning, I got up around 8:30, and I turned on the CBS News Sunday morning show. I don't know if any of you watch that, but it's a typical Sunday morning. I get up early, 8 o'clock early, to enjoy that show. One of the correspondents was giving his opinion, because obviously it was Valentine's Day. And in his opinion, it is a Hallmark holiday. We don't need a national holiday to express to our loved ones how we care for them. I'd like to hear your opinion on Valentine's Day and whether you believe it is a Hallmark holiday or otherwise. Volunteers, I think everyone here has a role. Brittany.
Masters, Valentine's Day really didn't mean too much to me growing up. I didn't really pay attention to it. I had older brothers in my family, and I didn't really think about it too much. I didn't know too much about it until I hit high school, and then, oh my gosh, if I didn't get flowers, good Lord. One of the things that I was very fortunate to understand was I had my dad. And every year on Valentine's Day, I would get a small little bag of cheese corn. Never knew what it was. It was delicious. I ate it. But I never stopped to take the time to realize where it came from. Finally, my last year of school, I was like, where does this come from? Who does this? And my mom said, are you serious? You don't know? I was like, well, yeah, I know. But she's like, stop, Courtney. My dad got it for me. And every year, I would always get just one little bag of cheese corn. He would always go, and whether or not this was pure in his motivation, he would go to the little chocolatier and pick up other things besides this cheese corn, of course. You get these luxurious turtles bathed in chocolate and caramel and all this and that. We would always pick up a bag of cheese corn. And that was almost 16 years ago. And ever since I moved up to Mayo, the little chocolatier closed. And I have not gotten that bag of cheese corn. And I almost have phantom pains in my stomach because I cannot taste that cheese corn. So I think Valentine's Day means the most of what you make it, whether or not you get that Hallmark card or you get the Happy Valentine's Day or whatever you get. And I think the memories are what stick with you the most.
Time for one more. My husband and I, oh, you want to answer the same question? Come on up.
Well, I would expand the day to include Mother's Day, Father's Day, and all of the days. I came from India, and when I came here, like Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day, we didn't have any of these days. Now it's catching up. But I'm like, you remember your mom only one day in a year? That's pathetic. And you think about your dad once a year, and you give him a toolbox every year? That's pathetic. And I mean, I talk to my mom almost every day, and I talk to my dad every alternate day. I'm more close to my mom than my dad. But then a friend of mine told me like all these days are created by the stores, so that people come to the store, buy gifts, cards, chocolates, and all that. And that made a lot of sense. I never actually bought any Mother's Day or Father's Day card because I miss them every day. I talk to them every day. I love them every day. Thanks.
Thank you, both of you, for volunteering to address the question. Table Topics is a fantastic way to practice our extemporaneous speaking, so thank you for jumping in on those.
I think mothers figured out that kids were talking to them every day and never gave them a box of chocolate on Mother's Day. So So with this, I'll have General Evaluator Stacy Johnson come over and
Thank you, Sir Toastmaster. Now it is time for our meeting to switch from the presentation part of the meeting to the evaluation part of the meeting. First, we will have an evaluator come up for each of our two speakers, then we'll have some reports from our two other people. And then I will give a brief overall evaluation of the entire meeting, and I'll turn the meeting back over to our Toastmaster. So to begin the evaluation portion of the meeting, I would like to invite up Courtney to evaluate Chris.
What a rare chance that the mentee evaluates the mentor. I am here to evaluate Chris's speech, which was our fourth moment of truth on planning and organization. I would love to say that there was very visual and it was very transparent with the audio visual. I really liked seeing all of the feedback that everybody was able to give, and it was their exact feedback. I saw mine up there and I was the oops, see the above. That was me. And I was very happy to see the actual words because you could sort of capture some of the feelings where they were coming from, and I thought that was very beneficial than just recapping it with your own words. I thought there was an excellent review of all the responses, your take on those, and also your opinions and asking everybody for their feedback. You checked to see also if we could all see everything at first and when you turn the lights off, and I thought that was very nice that you asked if everybody could see still with the lights off. I love how you did the on-the-spot problem solving. So I had made a suggestion about something and you came up with a very quick solution. You thought on your feet and you were able to say everybody respond using that same listserv so we could all figure out if something had been covered or not. I really liked that. I thought that was very nice. And I also loved your analogy with the Toastmaster role or the role review where you said it's just like a cookbook, you just read it, and I don't know why, but I had great anticipation when I thought about thinking of all of those roles and everything on there. And when you said just take it like a cookbook and you just read it and you go step by step, that it made it go away from me, that anticipation. I don't know why, but I thought that was very nice. It was very helpful for me. So P.S. I am a PDF and a Word master. Clearly we have a lot of people who might be able to help you with that, so if you're short on volunteers, I'd love to give it a crack. But I thought that it was a great moments of truth. I look forward to seeing number 5 and 6 also.
Thank you, Courtney. And moving on to our next evaluator, I'd like to invite John Potter, who will be evaluating Dr. Sherr.
Thank you, and fellow Toastmasters and guests. I haven't done an evaluation for a while, and Joe had to come up. It's always hard to come up with suggestions for Joe. I was very impressed, standing up here, basically no notes, going through this story. The word pictures that you were painting, Joe, were incredible. Talking about not just being the statistics. You said it with great feeling and emotion. And because of that feeling and emotion, I think you also intended to have the dramatic pauses. The one thing I would suggest is, because it's emotional, and some people raise their voice when they get emotional, some people lower and get softer. Yours is lower and softer. So at times it was difficult to hear. And I could picture what it was like to be the doctor turning into the patient. Thinking about life is temporary. You've got a year to live, or whatever it may be. I have, I guess, is it right? Aneurysm behind my left eye that had to get fixed, or it is fixed. But when they did the operation, there's a 10% chance that you will not make it off the table. And that caused you to think about what's important in life or not. My kids were 4 and 6 at the time. So it became, that was very so I wanted to find this book and find out the real story, unless you're gonna tell us the rest of the story. And Joe, thanks for making my evaluation harder.
Thank you, John, for that very descriptive evaluation. Next, I would like to invite up our timer for the timer's report. Please welcome up Brian.
I'm gonna go through this with great celerity again. Introduction. So first off, Andrew. Andrew was our humorous and inspiration master. He took 2 minutes and 27 seconds. However, I blame myself because I was so enamored by what he was saying that I failed to actually give him any notes, any comments, so that was probably more my fault than his. Chris wanted 10 to 12 minutes. He went 12:55. Joe wanted 5 to 7, and he went for 8 minutes 53 seconds. Courtney did a table topic, and she spoke for 1 minute and 41 seconds, which is good. Deganta spoke for 1 minute and 13 seconds. And then Courtney did her evaluation in 2 minutes and 2 seconds, and John did his evaluation in 2 minutes and 22 seconds.
Thank you, Brian. And for our last report, I'd like to welcome up Derek. Derek.
Thank you, Madam Postmaster. I'll start off today's with the ahs and ums. I did not hear one instance of any ahs or ums, so congratulations to all our speakers. Word use, we started off strong with Brian had one, and then Andrew followed that up with one, and then right when I thought I could set my pencil down, Brian followed up with another one, so that was great. Creative language, so a couple ones, and the theme is food, that evoked a lot of images in my head was Courtney, luxurious turtles bathed in candy. I was just, when you said that, I was like thinking in my head, it's lunchtime, and gonna have to go have a chocolate that Dr. Gauch brought. And then Dr. Gauch too, when you said, you brought up eating Sloppy Joe's spaghetti. Maybe I'm just hungry, but those are the things that kind of keep my brain. And then Dr. Sharp, I thought that when you said this was a great way to kind of summarize his situation, was no longer an agent of change, but now an object of change. I thought that was a great way to kind of summarize the first half of the story, and then I agree with Joe. It was just so much emotion behind that speech that it was there was just some great language in there. And that's all I have. Great job, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. The last part of the general evaluation, I would like to do a brief evaluation of the meeting, and I was thinking that since today we focused on meeting organization, I would talk a little bit about the organization of our meeting. I read a description of the Toastmasters meeting one time to think of the entire meeting like a trip. So you have your beginning when you're leaving for your trip, you're filled with anticipation. Then there's the main part of the trip, and that would be where you are enjoying the trip. And then at the end, when you return, and that would be feeling, bringing with your feelings of contentment and reflection. In terms of our meeting today, when we left for our journey, I noticed a couple of things. One made my heart swell with joy, and that was the chocolate that Ahmed brought for us. And again, related to food, something that made my heart not swell with joy, I noticed there was garbage on the floor in a couple of different places around the room. As we moved into the bulk of the meeting, I had an observation about transitions. I was thinking about meeting organization and having a smooth trip from the beginning to the end. And I was also thinking about Chris's comment about each of the roles being like a recipe and then making them your own. And as we continue to fill these roles, sometimes we're in them for the first time, sometimes we've been in them
situations pose special problems. When it's your first time, you're nervous, you don't really know what you're doing. After you've been the grammarian 6 or 7 times, it's hard to come up with fun and interesting ways to surprise and shock the audience. So it's up to us to think about those things to keep the audience entertained and keep them on this beautiful bulk of their trip, so they feel as content as they would as if they were sitting on a white beach by the blue ocean in the Caribbean, which is where I just was last week. And then we come to the end of the meeting, which we are moving towards now. It looks like we are right on track to end on time. I think overall the meeting went very well today, and I thank you all for coming. I'd like to turn the meeting back over to our Toastmaster.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I think the real hallmark of the Toastmasters, the number of practices which we do here, but I found out about 10 days ago when I was in Hyderabad in India, chairing some meetings and presenting some things, as to how I could apply the Toastmaster skills at work and in Hyderabad. So much so that I got a comment from one of the panelists. There was a whole series of panelists, and I was going to chair it, and I chaired it with Andrew Grumman, who's the president of AMA. And I found out the Toastmaster experience which we have, pausing, rephrasing, repeating, and stating it, and table topics, things like that, and having panel interviews, and how to respect each member so that they don't get into conflict. I had a bunch of 7 Indian doctors who, left to themselves, would have punched their way out of the podium. They were so strongly vocal about each other. And with my very good Toastmaster skills, which I've learned over the last 3 or 4 years, I was able to keep the temper down, as just like Stacy said. But I think try this out in your workplace. In fact, the best comment I got from one of the panel members was, "You held a panel better than our TV stars in the Indian TV station." I was like, wow. But to my credit, I did sell Toastmasters. One of the slides which I showed, I talked about a business strategy primer for physicians, was how you can improve your communication skills. But I tell you, nobody is as poor a speaker. Most doctors are terrible speakers, communicators, terrible. And I was like, if I had been doing an evaluation there, sitting there, ahs and ums and ohs and, it's like, God, take me up from this, relieve me of this misery. So I think the great thing is applying it at work, and only then you will find Toastmaster experience to be very, very useful. Use it at interviews, use it in Hy-Vee, use it at your workplace, and that's how you'll use the skills in Toastmasters. With that, I think we have 3-4 minutes before, and President, do you have some comments or?
Yes, I do. I really want to use this word, but I keep thinking celery because I too am kind of getting hungry. Has everybody been made aware that March 2nd is our club contest day? It is the international, where you need to have at least 6 competent communicator speeches on record before you can apply to this. And the second part of the contest is table topics. So if you are interested in doing the international contests part, please let us know. I don't know who is taking the emails, but okay, so send your intentions to John. John Potter is the chair for the contest on the 2nd. Depending on how many contestants we get to apply, it will determine whether or not we do the speech and the table topics, depending on if we have time. We most likely will have time to do both table topics and the speech that day. That gives us time for whoever wins the speech contest to have another practice round and be evaluated for tips, and still have enough time for the area contest, which I believe is St. Patrick's Day, a Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, from an email. On top of that, do you have next week's roster? Would you like me to deliver that with celerity? All right. We have the Toastmaster slot is still open. If anybody would like to volunteer for that, let us know. Courtney, you are the grammarian. Tanya is our timer. Joe, you are the humor and inspiration speaker for next week. Deanna, I think says she will not be available, so I may or may not have part number 5 coming up, or I might be Toastmaster, so I will fill in either one there. So if you want to be Toastmaster or speaker, please speak up, and there's a speaker number 1. Speaker number 2 will be Sarah Jenkins. Topic master is Derek. Abby will be general evaluator. Deganta, you are evaluator number 1. And Stacy, you are evaluator number 2.
And Chris, for the table topic contest, you do not have to have 6 speeches done. If you're a member, you can participate.
Thank you, John. That is absolutely correct. What will happen is everybody will get the same question. Everybody that is participating in the table topics will be led out to the hall, and they will be brought in order. They will be given the same question. Anything else?